Denver Broncos second-year receiver Troy Franklin looks like he is poised to make a huge breakout in year two. Now, anybody that's watched his play last year as a Denver Bronco fan, and then you see what you've seen through just 2 preseason games, it's as clear as day he's a completely different player. He looks more confident. He looks stronger. He understands what he's doing. That number 11 looks nice on him too. I think that's contributing a lot to why he is poised to take a leap. But you consistently heard every single day throughout the offseason, every day, Troy Franklin had a good day. Troy Franklin had a good day, and he continued to keep on stacking days. And that's one of the biggest keys into seeing, okay, is a player making a leap in year two? And then through 2 preseason games, he makes a leap in each one of those games. And it is as clear as day, it's obvious as to how much of an improved player that he is. Now, I'll say this. How good of a season is he going to have? How impactful is he going to be? Is he poised to be, wide receiver 2 next to Sutton? Or is he even poised to become wide receiver 1 at some point in the near future? Obviously, time's going to be able to tell. We're going to need to see how this offense as a whole looks, and we're going to have to see him perform once the regular season starts. But what we're going to do today is we're going to break down a few different examples of just where I really feel like he's made a lot of strides. Now, I don't know if you guys follow the channel. If you do, I appreciate you, but I have a lot of videos in the past breaking down the film of Troy Franklin and talking about the good things and then talking about a lot of the things that he could really work on. And a big part of it was the mental aspect of the game for him. And you can see that he's significantly more comfortable in that aspect this upcoming year. So without further ado, let's get it started. Now, this is going to be obviously in the Arizona game. We have about 8 clips. We're going to talk about the game versus the San Francisco 49ers last week. Some receiving and some is just going to be a whole mix of other things that he's doing that's helpful. So let's get this started. I'm going to get it rolling and then we can talk about it. So he's on the bottom of the screen. It's the double move, tutalicious, easy touchdown. Now, here's the thing about this play. Obviously, it's pretty straightforward, but what I liked about it is just, he's moving, he's quick, he's sharp in and out of his breaks. It was a pretty poor job by the corner, but to be able to get his head turned around, see ball, and not worry about the safety coming his way, makes the catch easy. That's a good thing, right? So nothing overly special, but those are little strides you like to see. And like I said, this is second and third teamers. I get it. Don't come at me in the comments being like, these are the fourth stringers. I understand it. But it's the little things that you got to see the leap in. So I just wanted to show that one because it was one of my favorite plays. But here's another one. I'll let this one roll as well. Nice little catch on the sideline. You can see he's going to be at the top of the screen. So going back here, just a tad bit. Here's what I like about it. All right. Now, I don't really have my little cursor tool or anything that you can see. But what I want you to pay attention to is the safety number 32. Right? That's the one that Troy Franklin is really worried about that he's going to be covering because the corners are going to be playing zone. So once you see Troy come out of his break, what I like about it here is he kind of, glances a little bit with the linebacker. And now he knows my one-on-one is this safety here. So he puts a little bit of an inside move just to hesitate the safety enough. It's the little nuances that make the biggest difference. Takes that one step to the right to make it seem like he's going inside and then boom, breaks it outside. And breaks it out and then comes a little bit back towards the football. Something that we didn't see a lot from him last year. So he was a little bit lazy in his routes. He would kind of round them off. You can see now he's not rounding it off as much. His route running going back in towards the sideline, if this makes sense, is going to be a lot sharper. So fake move, come out, now running towards the sidelines. Nice catch. Really a little bit low near the sidelines, securing the catch there. So that's something that you got to like. And what I loved about that one is he manipulated the safety a little bit. He realized once he hit that second level, he had the safety. That one little stutter, that's all it takes to be able to create separation. So that's a good thing. And that's an NFL type of route, not just running go balls and all of that. All right, here's another one. You're going to see Troy Franklin is at the bottom of the screen here. Again, this is the second touchdown that he had versus the Cardinals. Here's what I like about this one, because it was actually pretty tight coverage. It's a good job by the corner. But what I liked about is a few different things. Firstly, great release. The little hesitation, fighting through the hands, And now it's very strong. Now he's keeping his eyes up on it, right? Corner is kind of draped on him, but watch the late hands. Boom, hands late. He's not even letting the corner know that the ball is coming. These are small, small things, man, because in the past, if he's putting his hands up, then the corner would know to be able to react and put their hands up. But you can see he's looking and he's super late with it. Doesn't give the corner enough time. Strong catch, finishing it through the catch. That's something that you love to see, man. You didn't see a lot of that for Troy Franklin. So another one here, guys, before we get into the rest of this. Another thing about Troy is there's reports that came out. He's gotten stronger, right? You like to hear those reports, but you can see him playing stronger, right? Playing the football stronger, which is very, very different. So that's him just going out there and finishing through. And I think a lot of it is that confidence, him understanding that in the NFL, you've got to complete the process. The corners are always going to be draped on you, and you have to be able to finish and have strong hands. And he certainly seems to do that. So you love to see that, man. It was a beautiful play. All right, we're going to let this one roll, and then we will break it down again. So this is actually something that I looked at and I said, this is going to be a really good coaching tip. And I actually noticed this immediately on the broadcast. I actually just started tuning in to the game at around this time because I was at a event prior, but this is probably coaching a little bit more. So to give you guys a little bit of an idea of this game, this is right before half. There's about 6 seconds left on the clock. The Broncos are trying to get into field goal range as much as they can. There's no timeout, so they have to work the sidelines. So a couple of good things here, right? I like Troy Franklin immediately gets out of his break, breaks it outside, catches the ball, goes out. But I think what he could have done a little bit of a better job is, look how much gap there is between him and the safety. Catch the ball, get as many yards as you can as you're drifting out of bounds. Because what ended up happening here, now this probably wouldn't happen in the regular season in the sense of us actually kicking it. Now maybe it would. But instead of it being a 64-yard kick before the half, it could have been a 60-yarder, maybe a 61-yarder. It makes it a little bit easier. And it could be the difference between kicking a 58-yarder and a 55-yarder. Those little extra yards for kickers make a big difference. So that's something that I was like, that there's a little bit of room for improvement there. But again, like I said, I just liked how quick, decisive, get out, whip your head around, catch the ball, get out of bounds. So good awareness by him and the team as a whole. You got to love it. All right, this is one of my favorite plays. We'll let it run. But we all know this one. And I want to give a shout out to two dudes. That's Evan Ingram taking it, 50-some yards, 58 yards on his first catch as a Bronco. But here's what I love about it, man. Troy Franklin does a great job beating the press and just going, right? So he's pretty much open now. But they give the ball to Troy Franklin, and he does a good job of not doing a block in the back, but, disrupting the corner just enough there, keeping your hands up, letting the ref know, hey, I see it, but giving him enough of a bump to be able to free Evan Ingram. That little bump doesn't happen. Evan Ingram is tackled at, the 16. They're still getting a first down, but instead he's breaking it for 45 yards more down the field. And then look at the boy, Pat Bryant, at the top of the screen, locking in on the corner and driving his ass to the bench. Gotta love that. So that's something, man, I really noticed a lot more. I see a lot of Troy Franklin last year, like the effort was there, but not so much. He's blocking a lot more. They'll have him playing the Z. You'll see that here a little bit later, but he's doing a much better job blocking, or doing just enough. You don't have to be a dominant blocker to be a good blocking receiver. You just have to show the effort, and you have to do enough to be able to disrupt the defender from being able to make the tackle. That's what I like about it. Let's see what this one is here. Oh yeah, I love this. So this is a wonderful example here. This ended up being a good completion, like 19 yards, I think, to Pat Bryant. But here's what I love about this, and we did not see a lot of this at all last year with Troy Franklin. This is something that I think is going to go a long way. He is lined up on the top of the screen on rookie cornerback Will Johnson. Now, Will Johnson, had he not had his hip injury, would have been arguably the best corner in this draft. But here's what I love about this, okay? He's the one that actually forces the defensive holding call. And because he absolutely cooks him on this route. So watch Troy Franklin at the top of the screen. Little hezzy, beats the hands, gets inside, and, creates the separation, puts a really good move on him, really to the point where Will Johnson had to hold him coming out of that break. I'm not sure if you even saw that. Wish I can slow this down. I'll try my best to pause it. My bad, guys. Thanks for bearing with me. I ain't the best at this. But he breaks through the hand coverage there. And then as he's breaking in loose, Will Johnson realizes that he got beat. So he's like, I got to grab. Tried to be a little bit savvy and grabbed him. Now, it ultimately, and he faked it again and really created separation, but it ultimately resulted in a long completion, so we declined the penalty. But had this been an incompletion, it is, if it's a third down, that's an automatic first down call there because Troy Franklin, because he beat his man, was able to draw a holding penalty. And those are things that go a long way too, man. That's just as good as getting a completion. Well, at least almost, but at least it gets you the automatic first down. So you love to see it that he's out there running routes to where receivers, where corners have to hold him. And he even knew it. He knew it right away. He goes, that's a first down on us, regardless of if the ball was caught or not. So got to love that. All right, going to the San Francisco game. Now I love this. I love this especially because him and Bo had just missed on the previous play. Bo kind of undershot him a little bit. I will say on that route, though, I didn't put it in here, but on that route, I blame Franklin probably a little bit more than I blame Bo because he had one of those where he ran a little bit of a sloppy route again. He didn't break it in. He kind of started to drift a little bit of what you had seen last year. So it wasn't really where Bo was expecting for him to be. But I love this because this is a tough all hands catch across the middle, something that you love to see a second-year player that struggled with drops and catching balls across the middle last year be able to do. So great release. Loves how he breaks it. Meets him at the top of the route within 5 yards. A little bit of hand fighting. Creates that separation. High ball, and he is all hands. Catches it tough and be able to absorb the hit and complete the process of the catch. Gotta love that. That was one of my favorite plays. And I think I put it in here through this angle as well. Oh, no, I didn't. And this is the blocking one, I believe. So again, good enough blocking. I actually put this on Bidet because Bidet's got to be able to read where the blocking is going from. You're not going to be able to expect for Troy Franklin to completely turn him inside. Bidet's got to cut right behind Troy Franklin's back there. But again, I like the willingness. I like the effort. The fact that he was out there playing in the Z to be able to do it. And again, he's in the Z here. Oh, my bad. Was that the last one? Yeah, that was the last clip I had. My fault. So again, a lot of different blocking clips that I had seen, but this one I wanted to put in. So you see him really, the effort is there, is good. And you see a lot of it. Like he's lined up. I think he's lined up in the traditional Z here as well, even. He is. So he's lined up right behind tackle. I would expect that you see him line up there a lot. And one thing Sean Payton talked about is he's playing two different positions right now. He's playing the X and he's playing the Z as well. Or sorry, the Y, and he's playing the Z as well. So that's you can tell that he's really picking it up. But you like to see that. I love to see the effort, him just going out there, getting his hands dirty. And that's a good enough of a block. I think that's on the back to be a little bit more patient and cut it in. Or maybe you expect for Troy Franklin to really engage and drive him off more so that you can open it up. So I'm not entirely sure what his responsibility, I guess, was on that particular one. But nonetheless, you love to see it. Guys, I think the big thing, man, is obviously, you're not going to be able to paint the full picture of the preseason and have expectations for the regular season. But the really positive news is that he's a confident player right now. And he's somebody that we know has all of this talent. We know that, he's 6'3". I think people forget about that. He's tall, he's long, he's a 4'4" guy. He can really move. And he looks a lot more refined in his route running. He looks a lot more comfortable just with the playbook, understanding what his responsibilities are, what he needs to do. But he just looks more confident as a player in general. And that's something that you love to see. He's still a young guy, man. He was drafted, he was 20, so he's a 21, 22-year-old kid right now. And he's making a lot of leaps. And the biggest positive with him is that he's been stacking days throughout camp. And he's been showing, a lot of production and playing very well in the games. So it's a wonderful thing. I think that this wide receiver room is going to be very interesting. Very, very interesting because I think we're incredibly deep. And I think, between Marvin Mims, and Devon Vele and Troy Franklin and Pat Bryant, who I will do a film review on here shortly as well, one of those guys, or I think all of those guys are good enough to be legitimate wide receiver twos that could be productive. But I think all of them also have the opportunity to eventually, supersede Cortland Sutton and become the future wide receiver one on this team, depending on how they all ultimately develop. I appreciate you guys tuning in, man. I hope you guys liked it. Let me know in your comments below how you're feeling about Troy Franklin, but give me some feedback too about the film session. What can I be doing better, right? Can I be explaining things better? I want to get better specifically at film reviews, so I appreciate you guys letting me know in the comments below. Otherwise, till the next video. Oh, before I go, real quick, catch Horsepower Hour tonight, guys. Me, David Talks Broncos, got my guy Jeremy on at Broncos Unbridled, and of course, Kodiak at Kodiak Broncos Podcast tonight, 8 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. Y'all already know where to catch it. Link's going to be below in the description. Till the next video, guys. Peace.